That way, that way as we grow, once we get really good, then we're already gonna be, we'll have the audience over here working. Over there working. I'm gonna spit my gum out.
I have a back scratcher. We could press the button. But
I'm gonna spit my gum out and be ready to go.
But you have to press the button, right? No, I was serious. It's a long stick.
Oh, you talking over there? So we just gotta push the button. Let me see.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. I got you this. Are people watching us on YouTube right now?
Yeah, that's live.
Oh, hi, everyone.
That's live over there. Right, so we good. So I think we just gotta, let me see. We just gotta push the button over here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, we good right there. Can you push the button?
Mm-hmm.
Push it now. I'm gonna, you want me to push that spit my gum out first?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What?
We live over there.
Okay. Go ahead, do what you gotta do.
I'm coming back, all right, back. Yeah, we should be good to go. We are ready to go. Where's my water?
I moved it.
You moved my water? Where was it at?
In the behind me.
Where?
Behind me.
Oh, okay.
We got the music.
We got the music.
Ready? We gotta press the button. You gotta do it on the video. Oh, I missed the music.
You're good to go. We live, right? I gotta push the button.
No, it is live.
No.
It is live. It's when it says live, it's live. It's live.
You sure?
Coach, you press the button, yeah.
I'm good to go.
Yeah. You wanna play the music again?
I'm good to go. Okay.
Yeah, that pink button means live. Hard to see.
It's been what? It's been about a week?
It's been a week.
It's been a week.
Can you read the names that are coming up?
I can't.
I know. It's
I can't see it. I can't see it too much.
Hi, everyone. Wait.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's too loud.
It's on.
Is it too loud?
Oh no, it's perfect.
And so that's why we need to get right now we're like we're the setup people, set up women and lady.
We wear multiple hats.
We set everything up. And we do everything. We do it all. So we needed a week. I always gotta move over there. I think I'm good though.
There's a hole there, be careful. Okay.
And we do everything. So sometimes we need a break. We need a break from doing everything. So yeah, we do. We like that. In our business, we do everything. We do it all. So, but we're pretty much ready to go. So we want to thank everybody for joining us today, for joining the show.
Thank
So,
you.
you said welcome?
I said thank you.
Okay. And so welcome to Inspiring Through Sports with Passion and Motivation podcast. And you're here with Coach K and Coach C. And we thank you for joining us.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Well, they're waving back. So I think they're doing, some people are doing pretty good. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm good. How are you?
No complaints.
How's your week been?
It's been great, to be honest. I mean, it's been busy, but it's good. It's good to be busy. Because if you have a problem being busy, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. You spelled my name right. A lot of people don't spell it right.
Well, I should have, right? But I make sure it's right, in terms of my notes. But
we got an exciting podcast today, Coach.
Right, but last week, before we get into what we're going to talk about today, last week we talked about how we met. You think we hit on everything we needed to kind of touch on in terms of how we met? I think we kind of.
If we left anything out, we can talk about it.
Okay, well, I guess, we didn't leave nothing out. So I think we hit everything. Yeah, I think we hit everything. Okay. So all the key components that created Inspiring Through Sports podcast with Passion and Motivation. So it's teamwork that makes the dream work.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that.
Go ahead. You want
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Right. So today, our topic for today is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about winning.
Oh, somebody said I can't hear. Something is wrong with my mic. Can anyone hear?
Something's wrong with the mic.
Oh, the person that was right there.
Do
you think they can hear us?
They should be able to hear us. If they can't, something's wrong with whose mic?
Something is wrong with my mic.
Who's mine? Which one? Coach K or Coach C?
Hello?
That means you got to talk to them. You got to talk to the mic.
Oh, okay. I hope. Can you guys hear us? Okay.
They should be able to hear us.
Should we take it down and see if we can hear us?
No, they can hear us. I mean, it's
Okay.
pretty loud. I think maybe you just got to talk to the mic.
Okay.
Because I'm talking to the mic.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk like this. I usually have a loud voice, but yeah, I can definitely echo here.
Yeah, we got the coach's voice, but with the podcast, we definitely need to get these mics so they're working. So we should be good to go. So we want to focus on winning today. And you're talking about winning, that's such a broad topic, but we wanted to kind of hit on winning because, running our programs, me running my program with Inspiring Through Sports and Coach running her program with Passion and Motivation, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. So, but we wanted to also focus on some positivity. So we wanted to talk about winning. And Coach, I mean, we could just go straight into it in terms of winning. I know you guys had a chance to win. What, you guys won your first championship with the volleyballs? Am I right?
Yeah, so we played at the regional championships, my 16U for Passionate Motivation, and in our division that we played in, we wound up winning the gold medal, and we were very excited about that. A lot of times with club or new organizations, that's unheard of, and a lot of times with whoever just popped on, can you hear us okay?
We're good, Coach.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of times when you see new clubs and new organizations, winning isn't something you see very often. I know I've seen a lot of brand new clubs and you don't see them winning, like I said. So I was really excited. We were really pumped. The girls worked really hard for it. And, but let's get into winning and the core of importance and also what's really important and what we focus on, within our organizations.
Yeah. We're definitely, like you're saying, because winning, that's why I say it's so broad. It's such a big topic.
Yeah.
And I like to sometimes just get general in terms of, just trying to win today. How do you win today in terms of your day? I mean, one of the best ways to win is I know you kind of want to talk about what we normally do and how we do what we do. And from a general standpoint, just having a positive mindset. Having a positive mindset is so important in terms of you just being able to win in terms of today, but in terms of what we do, that's one of the key components, just the mindset, right? You gotta have the right type of mindset.
Yeah.
And that's what we're always trying to build.
It's really interesting to me because when you ask people on what they think of winning, you'll hear all kinds of different, I guess, ways of that they think winning, what's winning supposed to mean. And I know that, like, I have talked to people and they're like, winning isn't everything, all the way to winning is everything, all the way to, it's not about winning, it's more about improvement. And so we can also touch on that as well. And I would like to say for my organization, the focus this year was improvement. And as we're improving, we're noticing, okay, now we have the opportunity to win because there's been so much improvement. So the focus for us has definitely, for Passion Motivation, since we're a new organization, has definitely been improvement. And again, as the kids start to improve, then we start focusing, okay, now we can win.
Right.
And now we know that we can win, and we're teaching kids the skills and how to have the mindset to win.
Right.
And so winning definitely does become important, and it's ultimately everyone's goal at the end of the day. Like, nobody wants to go to a tournament and just lose, so it is like the end goal.
Right.
But in a sense, it's not winning at all costs. It's how do we want to win? We want to win through improvement and getting the kids to believe in themselves and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's because winning is definitely a process. I think that's something that I always remind everybody that that's one of the core. I have that in a lot of my shirts. I think it's interesting because people know it, but until people see you win, like for example, Joel Embiid in the NBA, for example, he was he just got the most valuable player recently because it was between Joel, the Joker that played for the Denver Nuggets. Also Giannis was among that as well. Antetokounmpo, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the other person. But Joel Embiid won it. He's one of the guys that would say, they call him the process.
Mm-hmm.
The process. So winning for me is it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
And within the process, like you're saying, there's all these different things that you got to accomplish before you accomplish the end result, which is winning. It isn't the most important thing, but it is important.
Mm-hmm.
You are trying to win. So as an organization or just, I always like to get general, for example, even like as a family, right? What is your plan to be able to win? What are you doing day to day, the things that you got to do in terms of maybe, being dedicated, being committed to that process in order to be able to win. So, and for me, I always say, we all want to win. Who don't want to win? Like, we all want to win.
Right.
Right. Like some people are, it's not about winning. Like, okay, it's not about
obviously
winning.
You still want to win.
Yeah, you're just not saying, you're talking about the end result, but you're not saying the other things that what it's for, right before that, what you're saying.
Right.
Other stuff that's important as well, like for me, it's also development.
Yeah.
We focus on, a lot of my program is focused on development because I get a lot of kids who are beginners who who've never played before, they're not good. So development is very important. By the end of the day, we're still trying to win. We're trying to get the development so we can go win.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, honestly, we're at a point within my club where I have really solid, good coaches who are coaching kids the correct way to do things. And at this point, it's been 4 or 5 months. So now I've noticed that a lot of their goals when they do, get to tournaments, or now even just talking to them, is they want to win games, and their goal is to win because, and their goal may have been, it's always been we want to win,
right.
But you really develop the confidence in your players and your team once you already provide them the skills that they need to be successful to win. And I will say that I'd like to, you were talking about what's the mindset of winning. Coach, it's a journey to learn how to really be a winner.
Right.
I've always been a winning coach in a lot of, different age groups that I've coached. And won a state championship, won more than multiple medals that you can count on your hands for, club that I've coached, 6 different clubs that I've coached. I always been a winning coach. I know how to win.
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, who doesn't want to win?
Yeah,
Who doesn't want to get that trophy and that medal? Who doesn't want to go there and be successful? Like, you should always want the best.
Right.
And when it comes to a winning mindset, when I talk to kids, there's a way that I implement with kids how to be successful, and there's steps that I take, which I'm not just going to give that information away for free, but I teach all my coaches exactly how.
Basically, there's a process.
There's a process, and you know that process because we have a similar process, and it actually it deals a lot with sports psychology. And in I don't know about you, but for me, I in college learned about sports psychology and how important it is to implement those keys for kids to be able to know that they can win.
Right.
Because when it comes to winning, you can teach kids all the tools that you know with skill building and all that stuff. But if you're not teaching them the psychology part of the game, the mental aspect of the game, you're going to go in there and flunk. You got to be able to know how to do it.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think, and that's why I say such a broad topic, but, because we wanted to focus on that for those of you who are joining. So you're here with Coach K and Coach C.
Welcome. Hope you can hear us okay.
Inspiring through sports with passion and motivation podcast. So what we got? No?
Wrong one, Coach.
That's not the one.
You need that's the last one. Applause, maybe?
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Am I loud enough now, Coach?
There you go. So
I turned it up a notch.
We're still getting this down. Getting it together.
We need somebody to press the buttons for us.
Right.
We're hiring.
Well, we're hiring, right? So, most definitely. So welcome to the show. Inspiring through sports with passion and motivation podcast with Coach K and Coach C. And we just wanted to focus on really something positive. We wanted to talk about positivity because anytime you're dealing with, just challenges or things that's negative,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get to that positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are, what we're talking about. What how do you get to winning? It's a mindset.
Yeah.
You got to have the right mindset because through winning, you're going to face challenges just like you do in life.
Mm-hmm.
In the course of just winning, a volleyball game, winning a basketball game, because we experienced that this year too with my 13, 14U team. We won our first tournament that we did this year with Big Time Hoops. That was our first one. So we won.
Congratulations. Thank
you. We ended up winning the championship, but that was our first time after playing like 3 times. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We clap for
there
that.
You go.
We clap for that one.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Our first time actually being able to win after playing in the championship like 3 times. It took us 3 tries to finally be able to actually be able to win, because it was from everybody, me as the coach, the players, and when you could see like the process and the execution we had to execute to win that game. I was like, whoa, this is another level.
Yeah, Coach, we're winning coaches, we produce results within our organization. And hey, like I said, and you said it's a mind, there's gotta be the mindset to, what do you want? What is your end goal? Obviously you want to be the best and you want your kids to be the best. So it's definitely, it becomes competitive and you gotta have that competitive mindset.
And I keep going back to life, right? You gotta be competitive in life. Life is competitive, right? You're applying for a job, it's competition. So you have to have that mindset. So, and we're not saying, just winning is everything. We'll forget about the process. But the goal is to go win.
Right.
That is the goal. So, whatever that you're learning, everybody wants to win. Nobody, even when we talk about talent, maybe kids are not as talented, they're trying to win too.
Right.
They don't want to lose because they're not as talented.
Right.
They want to have a chance to win as well. So this is where a lot of times I think, we're very passionate about even kids who are not they're not the most talented, but we love helping them. We love working with those kids because, you know, you can be better too if you put the work in, if you put the time and the effort. You know, you can improve. You know, and you can be able to win because we're talking about a team sport. We're not talking about tennis, which is a whole nother conversation, right? Because tennis is individual, golf is individual. We're talking about volleyball, basketball as a team sport, so you can contribute toward winning.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'd like to talk about my youngest club team for a second. My 13U, they went to a tournament where they played against, Coach, it was a 13, 14U tournament, and they played against all 14U teams. And my 13U kids have never played club ball before this year. Every single game that they played, they almost beat each 14U team. And to me, that's amazing. And like, I give a lot of credit to the coaches for teaching the kids the skills that they needed to be able to almost beat these established clubs that are out there. And in the end, their goal was to win. Now, obviously, as coaches, we know that the kids want to win. We know that the parents want there to be winning. And so it's important as coaches that if you know that the kids gave everything that they had, yes, there's things that they could have done or maybe even pushed a little harder. It is important to be positive and to point out the positive because, you know, if they busted their butts all day to win, they got to know to keep their heads up and let them know, like, you can do it the next time. Like, don't give up. It's important, especially in youth sports.
And I'm glad you said that, Coach, because I actually call that winning and losing. Even when you lose, you can still win. You know, and that's what we're talking about as a mindset, right? Because like you just say, you know, what was the goal? The goal there was preparing them toward the process to eventually at some point to be able to win. So they're playing better competition so they can learn and get their skills up. So even though they lost, they still won.
You hit it spot on.
Actually, they still won. It's just, it's us sometimes to be able to recognize winning even when we did that, when we actually lost. That's why a lot of it is really about mindset, because you could lose and you still won because they, like you said, the girls do their best. They, give everything they had. And I think sometimes even as leaders and coaches, that's why winning is not about this. It's not about the scoreboard all the time. It's not, because what are you trying to accomplish? What is your goal? If your goal was right now, we want to actually get development, then we so when we get out of there, we got to encourage the kids, let them know, you know what, maybe we didn't win based on that scoreboard, but you guys' effort was there. You guys' teamwork was there, right? You guys didn't give up. You guys, you give everything you had. So I think, and I'm glad you said it, I do believe you can lose and still let the kids know, you know what, we didn't win on the scoreboard, but we won today because we got better.
I see what you're saying. I think, how we agree on a lot of things. Right. I think this is one that I was thinking, I hear what you're saying, Coach, but the word win means, to me, winning. But I look at it in two different ways. So I totally hear what you're saying, but I do believe that there's goals, and goals can be successful, and the kids can be successful with the goals. So did we succeed today in what we were trying to do? 90%. Right. The goal with winning and actually the W, and if you watch, Rocky and all those like top movies, winning is winning. Winning is winning. Right. That's just, that's always how I looked at it. Look, if I lost the game, did I achieve my goals? 100% absolutely did that. But what is my end goal? My goal is to get that 25 to 23 score. My goal is, so the only reason I look at it that way, because I totally hear what you're saying. My dad was always like, said you achieved your goals, but, winning was winning. Like you gotta push it up. The only reason I look at it that way, which is good. I think. The only reason I look at it that way is because if you went into a game and you lost, but you actually lost on the scoreboard, but you achieved what you wanted to achieve and did everything that you wanted to do, but you didn't achieve that win at the end, then it actually pushes you harder the next time. Because then you're like, I didn't get what I wanted last time, so I'm going to work harder. Because I'll tell you what happens when kids win and they win the gold medal or at the top or they're doing the best. You know what happens? Sadly, You know,
What happened?
have you
What
seen it?
happened?
Have you seen it
What
happen?
happened? What happened?
Do you know, have you seen it?
You-
Like if somebody goes and wins a championship or wins a gold medal,
Right.
how do they show up to practice the next day? Usually.
Well,
Have you ever like?
Well, it depends, right? Well, I mean, I think it depends on, it just depends on the whole organization, it depends on the kids too, right? You know, because every kid is different,
Yeah.
because it depends on,
On their heart.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
it also I think experience matters, right?
Yeah.
Because some kids are, because I always go back to saying, you know, like kids were just starting out, even when kids are just starting out in sports on every team, there's always that one kid who's so serious
Oh yeah.
that he's not worried about, you know, for example, when kids starting out, they're looking for the snack. But that one kid, he's not worried about the snack. He actually wants to win the game. And if they lose, he's very upset. Where the rest of the kids, they're just looking forward to the snack. So it just depends on, you know, like you're saying, after they win, it depends on, you know, the kids, you know, they're not there, might go back to mindset.
And I'll say if what I've noticed with like the teams that I've had that have won championships or, you know, just won games, well, I always notice the next practice is it becomes very lackadaisical in the kids' mindset. However, there will be those kids, like you said, that have learned from winning before. So it's the kids that haven't really been in competition before, where if they start winning, they'll start showing up to practices after those wins, kind of like with a mindset not as high as it needs to be. But after a loss, you'll notice that the kids will come in, they might look a little defeated, but they'll take it a little more serious because they want that win.
Correct.
And so like psychologically and mentally, we have to remind the kids the importance of hard work and how you can't just stay at the same level. You have to always want to get better. And again, like the kids that have already competed and have won and lost championships, they know that. They know the next practice they have to walk in ready to go. But the kids that haven't really done that before, they're just like, oh, I guess I can do it all the time, man. Like, it doesn't work like that. There is always going to be somebody better than you, and you have to constantly hold your expectations to a high level. And I get very fired up about this because it also comes to a point of confidence and cocky. What is confidence? Confidence is knowing and having the ability to do something to your full potential and knowing that you're great at it. Cockiness is, honestly, to me, the world makes it like cockiness is confidence, and it's not. They mix it up. They think, oh, that person's cocky just because that person believes in themselves. Like, the world sees it that way, and I don't view cockiness like that. I view cockiness as like you think you're too good to put in that work. You think you're too good to take that feedback. You think you're too good to listen. You think you're the best, so you don't have to listen anymore. That to me is
cocky.
Yeah, that's cocky. And so it's important as coaches, you know, that we keep the kids humble and continue to develop that confidence to win.
Right, and you know, it is, all these topics are so broad because they could be even, you know, sometimes, I mean, really, the great players, they have both. There's some that they do have some cockiness in them, and they do have confidence because they are, you know, because I mean, you'll see it. A great player who's playing for a coach, for example, is not a good coach. They're not going to listen to that coach, even though they respect him as the coach. That's why coaches, for example, at the higher level, they get fired. But we're talking about the higher level. We're talking about kids. It is a little bit different in terms of because they're still learning. Even kids who think they know everything, but the difference with kids, even though you might be very talented, you might be, for example, the one that's getting all the attention, but you're still developing. You know, so it's different with kids because they're still developing. So even with kids who are cocky, it's just a matter of, you know, taking the time to teach them to understand, you know, not to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, to be confident, and then just go back to developing their mindset.
Yeah, and part of our
back to that.
Yeah, and part of our job as coaches is to keep the kids in line, reminding them, hey, you can be confident, but you always have to be willing to listen because you might be an Olympian and have to be coached. You might be the best player in the world and have to be coached. And you always got to be willing to take feedback. And you never want to shut off your coach or anything like that, because it's very important to have like a humble mindset, especially to always get better.
Well, you're gonna have to be coached. I mean, it's, unless you're gonna coach yourself. Unless you're gonna coach yourself, I mean, so you're gonna have to be coached. I mean, it's just that's and that's why I use process a lot too. Winning is a process. At the end of the day, winning is there's steps toward winning. There's development. That's why and that's why I say it's a broad topic. And we was even talking about, for example, we might want to talk about that. We was talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, who actually Giannis, who's they call him the Greek freak.
You pronounced it very well.
Well, yeah, well, I'm African, so I could pronounce, if I hear it, I could pronounce the name, so I can get it right. So my last name is, it's Coach K because my last name is Kapombe. Kapombe is my last name, so, and there's a story behind why eventually I kind of went with, end up going with Coach K, because the kids started calling me Coach, the kids, I worked at the school, the foundation school. It's in Upper Marlboro. Foundation school is a school with kids with emotional disability, kids with a lot of different challenges. So, when I first started working there, for about maybe a couple of days, maybe a week, or maybe a couple of days, I'm not sure, maybe a few days, nobody will pronounce my name because they couldn't say Kapombe. So they were just, Mr., and they started calling me Mr. K, and I'm like, nah, don't call me Mr. K. It's Mr. Kapombe. After a while, I had to realize, like, nobody can really, I wanted them to say it, not to say, I didn't. But after a while, I was like, man, you know what? Let's go. We could go with, Mr. K. So Mr. K went from there when I started coaching. The kids started calling me Coach K. So once I got into what I'm doing right now, I've just kept it, been able to do it. So, and that's what we're talking about, Antetokounmpo. Giannis. So Giannis, what me and Coach C was talking about with Giannis, I think, this past, they just lost in the first round of the NBA playoffs. They lost in the first round as the number one seed. They had the number one seed, and I think the question to Giannis was about something about failing. Was this season a failure? Yeah, they failed this year. And Giannis, you wanna kind of touch on that on that part that he was talking about how he responded.
He kind of like put his palm to his face, not like this, but just like, oh God, this question. But then he came back with a really.
Because his thing with this coach, he was trying to say that same person asked him the same question the year before. But I'm like, so what? Answer the question. That's how I felt about it. Like, go ahead.
Well, how would you like if someone asked you that question, Coach?
Yeah, well, it's mindset, right?
Yeah.
We go back to mindset, and I think his answer was mindset. The way he responded, it was understanding where his mindset was toward his understanding how he wanted to get to winning. So my thing is the way I always try to have a bigger perspective, and right now I got a greater understanding of what's going on. And my understanding was that the reporter who asked that question, it's his job to ask the tough question. So that was a difficult question, but if it was an easy question, then Giannis would have got frustrated. So I think he asked a great question that, that challenged Giannis to actually give us a great answer. And Giannis, it took him a minute, because I really think, according to what the reporter was asking, the reporter was pretty much saying, was this season a failure? I think this season was a failure for the Bucks because they were projected to be in the NBA Finals, to have a chance when we're talking about winning again, right? Like you said, like we see how the process of working toward, but like you just said, right, by the end of the day, the goal is to go win. Right. And they didn't accomplish that. So the reporter was like, well, you didn't accomplish that, the goal that you had before, which was winning. So did you fail? So he didn't like the fact that the reporter.
He more so called him a failure, though. He more so called him a failure. Are you
kidding, right?
What? Oh my God. Oh, no, wait. Coach Letitia, if you can hear me, I will call you back. No, dang it. People always call me when I'm on my Instagram.
All right, we're on a quick little break as we get this, we get back on Instagram Live, but we're still on YouTube. So for those of you joining us on YouTube, welcome to the Spotlight Through Sports podcast.
Okay, we were in a heated conversation.
Hold on, Coach. Hold on, Coach. Not go ahead. messing with you.
No, I was just saying, like, it's different to, to ask someone. I just feel like the way that the reporter asked it was a little disrespectful because it was like practically calling that man's name a failure. There's a difference. I feel that, like, if someone asks you why you failed or if they call you a failure. And so I think that's why he got a little bit, offended.
He got a little emotional
But-
about it.
but he
got
did
too
say-
emotional.
Yeah, he did say, what did he say back? He said, well, something like, well, have you failed before? Would you call that a failure?
That's what I'm saying.
But I like how
So
he came back. with-
That's why I say that the reporter did a good job because, because their job is to ask the tough questions. Even though because you got to think about it, right? It created a conversation now, even people to talk about winning because at the end of the day, he wasn't really calling him a failure. Because it depends on what we processed. So what I heard was he was talking about this particular season. Because like you said, this particular season, they're projected to win the championship. And this particular season, they lost in the first round. So that's what he was focused on. But Giannis kind of took it more personal, started talking about.
You guys should
like,
check it out. It's on
about-
Instagram. Who is it again?
It's Giannis.
It's the interview with.
It's Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Yeah, look that name up.
One of the top.
How do you spell that?
How do you spell that? And good luck with that, right?
It's a good interview and, it's a good debate to bring up. So should reporters ask that kind of question? Like, obviously, at the end of the day, we all want to win and, that is the end goal. But Kobe talks about how, I listen to a lot of his, you okay?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
Kobe, he gives he's all over my Instagram and giving a lot of interviews. And Kobe actually said there's no such thing as failure. I'm pretty sure he said something unless you quit, because you just make a bunch of mistakes. You fail, but you are not a failure unless you actually quit, because then you can't learn from the way that you failed. And that's the way that I look at it too.
Well, yeah, I think that's what they were comparing it to. They're kind of comparing what Giannis was saying to what Kobe had said in the past, and I think you go back to mindset.
Oh, were they talking?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Right. I know what you're talking about. Me being right, basketball guy, so I know all these things because
Yeah, we're talking basketball.
That's my lane. I
Yeah.
know all of that, but I think it all go back to your mindset, because when you're trying to win, you have to be able to put yourself personally. You got to be able to put yourself personally in the right mindset, because and I understand what Giannis was saying, because at the end of the day, he has to come back and have another run and try to win again. So when you're trying to win again, quote unquote, when you're trying to win again, you got to have that mindset. So basically, from my understanding, what Giannis was doing was he understands he got to make sure that he's not talking down to himself. He got to make sure, that he's ready, that when he comes back the following year, he's going to continue in that process in terms of trying to win. And that's why I said, for example, that I understand in terms of where it's everybody, because everything works together, right? The reporters, they're trying to win too. They're trying to feed their family. They got to be creative. But I think when it comes back to just, you got to put yourself in the right mindset. Because you got to give yourself that pep talk. Sometimes no one is going to give you that pep talk. Like, for example, I started an organization. Nobody came to me and said, Coach K, you need to start Inspiring Through Sports. As a matter of fact, before I started this, I had to leave another partner of mine I work with to kind of get to Inspiring Through Sports. I almost didn't do Inspiring Through Sports, but it all go back to that mindset.
Yeah, but it definitely is a mindset. I don't mean to sometimes cut you off. It's just I have a thought during that moment and then I get distracted and I totally forget what I was thinking.
It's okay. We're going to get back.
But no, it is about mindset. But it's you know what? Romans 8 says all things work together for the good of those who love God. So even if somebody's being a jerk or asks what I think was a jerk question and you think was a reporter question, which yeah, it was. All things work together for the good of those who love God. So honestly, if what's his name?
Giannis.
If Giannis is a super strong man, which he seems or appears to be,
Right.
that question is gonna drive him wild, and he is going to
Come
do
back.
everything he can to be a winner. Not everyone's like that, you know, but sometimes God uses even your enemies to make you become the best that you can be.
That's what's
And I don't even like to say that because I don't want people to know what fires me up, but what fuels me, honestly, like, it gives me a lot of fuel. So not everyone's like that. Some people, they want everyone to always be nice to them.
That's not
I'm not that way,
that's
and
not
a lot of
reality.
people that are successful are not that way
Yeah,
because.
that's not real, right?
Now, let's go back to, okay, well, does that contradict with positivity? No, because the people that are positive in your life are gonna help you go super far.
Right.
And the people that can handle the negativity and turn it into fuel and fire are very rare and few and far to find.
That's right.
I was talking to my mom about this, and she's a really strong woman. You know, she was top level HR at McCormick, super amazing woman. And she said, Chris, this kind of people, if people are trying to bring me down, I could not continue on. I would get really upset. And she's like, you're a really strong woman. And I was like, thank you, Mom. And it's honestly, it's like the 1% that, you know, most people need the positivity to be able to go forward. But it's like me and you, like we can handle it. And it actually fuels the fire. Now, I don't know if that was God given to us or, I mean, everything was given by God, but like how did we become like that? I don't know.
Preparation.
Okay.
We've been prepared. That's
We've been prepared.
That's also another thing about winning, right?
Yeah,
You have to be prepared to be able to win. Whether you are preparing yourself or somebody else is preparing you, you're prepared to win. We've been prepared.
We have been prepared. You're right. It all does come from God.
Yeah, so it wasn't by accident.
Why did I even say that? Everything's from God.
But this is why the podcast is so important, right? In terms of what we're talking about. That's why I say it's not about disagreeing or who's
It's
right.
actually good to disagree.
It is because then everybody learns from it.
Yeah.
Because we're always learning. We
I
can
know.
always learn something, right? And I think that there's beauty in even not agreeing sometimes.
I know.
Because
I'm proud of us because we disagreed twice on things. It's really good.
But I told you it's about learning, right? Because I already told you I might provide input, but you might add to it. You might provide an input, I might add to it. And that's where the goal is, to be able to do that, because everybody got a different perspective, got different views, different experience. So just look at that, right? With that reporter question, right? You picked up
He's smiling about it.
That's all, but we'll learn.
We learn, yeah.
Right? You picked up something different.
Yeah.
I picked up something different.
Well, our perspective was different.
Right. So was you wrong? Was I wrong? Nobody was wrong.
No, nobody was. I can see your point,
Yeah,
but
I see your
it
point
was
too.
definitely a good perspective. But I think it's really important because our viewers don't want to hear us always agree.
Well,
And we don't even talk
yeah.
about this
And-
before we
and-
talk, so it's all spontaneous, which makes
Right.
it beautiful.
Yeah.
And it is
And it's
beautiful.
healthy. The key is, it's about being healthy, right? We can
Disagree and
still be
like,
healthy and learn from it, because the key, to be honest, the key is to learn.
right, Coach, we need a podcast on disagreeing and healthy relationships, because our world has become so obsessed with we disagree, I'm ignoring you, I'm blocking you, I'm doing everything, we're done. Like, it's healthy to disagree. That should be a podcast.
Yeah, our conversation like a podcast, right? Because if you
I
think
know.
about it, even some of the people we have in our organization, like our coaches,
Mhm.
we disagree with some of the things that they're doing. They disagree with us too. Like, I used to have coaches actually, I work with, who would just disagree in my face. But when
I would rather that than behind my back.
But when I disagree in their face, they get emotional, they get soft, they start acting like I did something wrong, but they just want mentally tough enough to handle that. By me, I was like, I don't like.
Everybody loves you until you say no.
There you go. Like, no, you can't do that.
That's why whenever you meet somebody, if you want to know if they're a true friend, say no. The first time they ask you anything, say no. You'll see right away. Are they a friend? Winning.
We gotta get applause for that one.
And that's true though. I mean, you guys that tune in are getting a lot of insight here from our podcast, and we're going to continue the conversation on winning in 5 minutes. I mean, 5 seconds.
5
5
seconds.
seconds.
No, we just got fired up because
We got fired up
because we're learning as we go. And we're learning as we go, and that's the goal.
Coach, I've been done learned all this stuff. No, but you teach me stuff.
I mean,
You teach me.
In terms of the podcast, we're learning in terms of the podcast, what it's going to be, I think, we're still figuring out. We're kind of going with the, with
The
the
flow.
flow of the
Yeah.
Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost leading it.
Yeah.
Because the goal is learning. We want to learn
From each other, yeah, definitely.
Also provide a different, because the key is providing a different perspective. Because there's those people who don't think they can. They don't believe that they can. So somebody gotta give them a different perspective. Like, no, you can do that too. Like, for example, I was saying winning is a process. Like you said, you're right. The goal is to win.
Mhm.
There's no half.
Right.
You know
Who
what I mean?
doesn't
Right,
want to win?
right. But it's still, the process of, even though we did win, you can try to psych yourself up, say, you know what, even though I lost, but when I go home, I still won. Because
I gotta point out something that I'm not saying any names or anything, but somebody had posted on their Instagram and said, this got me fired up. It was like, it's not all about winning. Sometimes coaches just want to boost their ego with trophies or medals. And it's all about, I'm sorry, I was laughing. It's about the development. Now, it's about the development, and use Michael Jordan as somebody that quoted that. It's all about, I'm sure he said a lot more than that, but it is all about the development. However, to boost the ego, I was a little bit confused about that, because honestly, what are we trying to do at the end of the day? Make our teams, our kids, our staff, we want to win. And honestly, like you said, who does not want to be the best? That to me, when I saw that, I was like, I don't know if Michael Jordan ever said that, because, and if he did, he probably meant something totally different, because as well as I do, Michael Jordan wanted to win. And why do we want to win? Is it because of an ego thing? To me, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, is I'm going to be the best that I can be in life, and I'm going to win in everything that I do and do the best that I can do in everything. And that is what it is. It is what it is. Winning is winning, win.
And I think that's what we're saying, the learning part, right? We want to be able to learn because, and I think, and that's why it's good for us to be able to hit on, like I said, I can add to it, or you can add to it, and I'm gonna kind of add to it in terms of the other side of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other side of it is in terms of, it's for those who don't win. Because not everybody's going to win, right? So like we're talking about the Giannis, and he didn't win. So after you don't win, what is the mindset you got to psych yourself to continue to work toward that? Yeah. So you might have to tell yourself other stuff. Because if you didn't win, like you're saying, you didn't win. You lost. Right. You actually lost. So what do you tell yourself when you lose? This is where you got to go back to your goals.
Yeah.
You got to go back to, what were the things that you was working on toward winning? You just fell short. Then maybe you need to make some changes. Maybe, you didn't train hard enough. You didn't train long enough. You didn't study long enough. Yeah, right?
You're absolutely right.
So, and I think, maybe some of that information is for, because not everybody is winning every day. So, but I also think, like I said before, that actually losing is part of winning. People don't
it leads to winning, because if you never lose, you learn from losing. You learn more from losing than you do from winning, but you want to win.
Right, but you're going to lose before you actually
win. You're going to pick apart a game more that you lost from and be like,
that's the process.
Yeah, that's part of the process. Then when you win, you just think of like the end, like, I remember that kill. You remember all the good things.
Right.
And then when you
lose, all the work you was doing in the gym that you had to do through all those 2 hours, 3 hours you had to do to actually accomplish the win.
The win, like, honestly, means more than some people will ever know, especially when, like, we won at the regional championships, my 16U. Like, let me just say something, okay? So I love my entire club. All the kids are working super hard, and they're showing up, and they're dedicated, and they're learning. Now, I get to spend the most time with...
Coach, I'm sorry not to cut you off. I was trying to keep us on time, but we got 10 minutes.
Okay.
Because I'll talk about that
on the most time that I get to spend is with my 16U, so I see it from beginning to end 2 days a week. And I also see the open gym. So I see how they come in, and for the most part, they've been on time. And I see how hard they work. And I saw that with the 13U, and I knew they were going to be successful in the goals that they wanted. And I know that eventually they're going to get that win. And so I also feel that coming along with the 15U and eventually the 18U. And so with my 16U, that win, when we won, it was like, oh my God, that medal meant so much more than anyone could really know. That moment that someone gets a medal or they get a trophy, it's like the world will never understand what it feels like to get that unless you've actually gone through the process yourself.
Correct.
Because it's not just about the piece of gold or whatever. It's about the process that you went through to get to that point and the hard work that you that you put in to get to that point.
Correct. Yeah, and that's why I said process is huge, because I mean it's all about that. You know, I try to have certain things that I don't need to focus on. I mean, you can't you got to go through that process, and then within that process, there's gonna be some ups, and there's gonna be some downs. You're gonna have some good days, which means you're gonna have some bad days. But you have to be able to get your butt back up and keep working toward winning.
You gotta keep working.
Yeah, and that's why we go back to what, like you're saying, we're talking about Kobe Bryant. When you're saying when you quit, when you quit, you're a failure because you actually give up. You know, if you don't never give up, because you don't know, you know, like they say, you know, everybody have their day. You don't know when your day is going to be. So if you keep going, you don't know, you know, like we didn't know who was going to win. I mean, you know, when we walked in there, like I said, it took us that was our third championship game. Every time the first time we got there, we want to win, but I didn't know we was going to get there and just say, oh, we're going to walk in and just beat these teams. We got to the championship and we win the championship. But I wasn't really prepared for that neither, but that was our first championship. We played pretty well, but when the game got tight, we didn't know what to do. We kind of lost. And the second time I think we got there, we didn't have all the kids. We lost. We didn't have all the key players. But this time we got there the third time.
I bet you were like, you better be there on time.
This
you better show up.
Well, this happened within a year time frame, right? Like, you know, we talking about a bunch of practices.
Yeah, but I guarantee you as a good coach, you were like, guys, you better get there on time because we learned from our past and this is what we're doing this time. Because you learn from the losses.
Yeah, that's always like that. Like you said, that's the process, right? You gotta. That's like step one.
Right.
Step one is, matter of fact, 15 minutes early.
But you're not 15 minutes early. You doing burpees.
You almost.
You do. You run and jump lines.
You're almost late. So, but I think once we got there the third time, we had all the kids, but we also understood, like, you know what, we have an opportunity to be able to win. Whereas those 2 times we got there taught us what we needed to do. We knew how we had to play. We knew the focus we had to. Even I knew.
Did you give them a pep talk?
Well, we was ready because here's the funny thing, right? The team that we beat, when the same tournament, they beat us the first game we played in that tournament by 30 points.
So, Coach, did you give them a pep talk? Because I guarantee you did.
I had to. I had to because, like I said, that same
team. You
used
the keys in your pep talk.
Yeah, that team beat us by 30 points. But we had to play in the game of the championship.
So, Coach, what did you say in that pep talk? Do you remember?
Well, it's the process.
Right.
The process started once they beat us. Because what happened, the kids were playing around, they were joking, they just felt like they could walk over that team. They took them for granted. But
your kids did?
Yeah, our kids took that team.
Crap. I bet they had a hard practice the next day.
Well, the tournament was a weekend, right? The tournament was Friday and Sunday.
Okay.
So we played in Saturday, the first game of the tournament we lost, but then we won the second game. We kind of blew some team out. Then the next day we had to play again on Sunday, so we won the first game that we did. We got to the championship.
Okay.
But even before then, when we lost that first game, it kind of got their attention because.
Kind of.
Well,
you got their attention.
I hope.
You say you want to win now. You gotta listen.
Well, you still got, you know, on my team, I got everything. I got good kids. I got some knuckleheads. I got some kids that don't want that. I got some knuckleheads. I got some knuckleheads.
My dad used to do that too.
I've had some knuckleheads. They, like you said, they think they're all that.
They think they're all that.
They think they know everything already. Yeah. So even when you're talking to them, they're but
then
you can tell that's the learning.
Then
part,
you see
right?
them in 3 years and they're still the same.
Well, that's the problem. We hope that they're not, right?
I know.
That's what we're trying to teach them, you know, and stuff.
With us, they'll never be the same. You know?
Well, that's the goal, and I think, you know, that's all, you know, in terms of you saying, for example, once we got there, we got to that championship, though, I think, you know, like I said, those other games really helped us to understand how we have to perform, and I think
that's awesome, man.
Because without those, I mean, we don't even like the process, right? We don't
Wow.
get there without those other games. You don't
You're not just born and just come and win every championship. Like, that's not how it happens. And so many people, it's kind of interesting because so many people give up through the process. Or they'll be like, oh, this wasn't good enough for me. I'm leaving, I'm going somewhere else. And they just like leave the process when they're actually like getting better. They're right there, but they're like, oh, it's a little too hard. I'm gonna go the other way, or I'm just gonna give up. What did you expect? Did you expect to just be born like out of your mom's womb and just come into this world and win every championship and just never sit on the sideline, never like work for what you want? I don't understand it because I was never that kind of person. I was always like, I'm gonna get it because my parents always pushed me, and my parents never felt sorry for me, never. And so if I was crying because I was on the sideline, girl, you better work harder. And that I think, honestly, that's a whole other discussion we need to have about the mentality of parents and their kids, because they think they're protecting their kids. This is not an easy world. They're hurting them. This is not an easy world. And I'll say that my parents not protecting me in that sense, I mean, they gave me a house, they gave me everything that I needed. They loved me, but they knew that if they coddled me, I would not be where I am today. And I would not be doing what I'm doing today. And I would not have won as many times as I did because I would have given up. You are doing yourself a disservice if you are actually coddling your kid. And if you're feeling sorry for them, tell them to get out there and work harder.
And that's another topic for another day.
Let's talk about next week.
Well, I mean, we definitely, we can talk about so many different things. But I think, we kind of hit it. We hit it on winning.
Winning is the ultimate goal after the kids are developing and going through the process. And so winning is eventually what you achieve if you are learning from someone that knows what they're doing, and if they are implementing the keys that we talk about. So, Coach, nice job. And we're going to actually write a book together, and eventually probably we're not going to release it for another year about our keys because they're very highly effective keys to what you can do to develop the mindset of winning.
Yeah, we have a lot coming. I think, like I said, we're just getting started. We're getting started, and we're building as we go, because there's so much to offer, but there's so much in store for us to do. So it's all about, the key is not to try to do everything, to do it alone. You could do it alone, but you're only going to accomplish so much.
Coach, we missed a topic. We're going to have to continue on next week.
No, we didn't.
What about the?
Go ahead, you said what?
What about the coaches who, say things to kids like "you suck" and stuff like that? Like that's the winning at all costs type of coaches. Now we all have the goal of winning, but I think we should also talk about that eventually, because winning is the goal, but there's a way to do it successfully and without damaging a kid's character and actually getting them to become more confident and believe in themselves and be all that they can be.
This is why Inspiring Line Through Sports with Passion Motivation podcast is going to
on fire. On fire.
Because there's so many things we can talk about. There's so many things we can talk about.
It's a fire emoji.
There's so many things we can talk. He said what?
Where's the fire emoji?
Well, I like that. That right there. I know we're wrapping it up. We're about to wrap up.
We need to write down.
Yeah, you can.
Hey, thanks for joining us, guys.
So we definitely want to thank everybody for joining the show today. And
I don't know why I just wrote fire.
So today, we definitely had a chance to touch on winning. So just to wrap it up, Coach, I'm gonna let you take close it out.
Because I'm not gonna do anything to close it out. I'm just gonna keep talking.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Did anyone have any questions that's on here? Anybody have any questions? Parents?
All right, let me close it out.
Okay.
I'm gonna close it out.
Hey, Coach, that was fun.
All right,
Good time.
I'm gonna close it out so we can get out of here, right?
All right.
Coach don't want me to, coach, will like to keep going, but I try to keep.
We got so fired up now that we're gonna go change the world.
I try.
What? One person at a time.
That's it, one person at a time, that's the goal. The goal is one.
Let your haters be your motivators.
Or just
Mic drop.
Or just stay focused on what you're supposed to do. I think the key is.
Stay focused on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's it. You don't worry about your.
Nobody said you're worried about them. Let them be your motivators.
Well,
Because you need to
he said what? Yeah,
do your applause.
you want to put that pause? But
Eric Thomas says that actually.
We'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up right here.
Appearance and. Okay, so, yeah, we have a discussion with next. Oh, we're still on, Coach, we gotta hit the button.
Yeah, well, let me close it up.
Okay.
So we just want to thank everybody for joining the show. So we're inspiring through sports. We're Passion Motivation Podcast. You're here with Coach K and Coach C. We thank you for tuning in, and we're gonna see you next.
Thank you, stay
Wednesday.
focused on your goal. Stay focused on your goal. Press the button. Oh, we gotta exit. You just have to hit the X and then share the video.
But I'm gonna let you do that.
It's just important, let your haters be your motivators, because that's why a lot of people quit.
Well, it's all about mindset.
Okay.
That's still running, Coach. Over here, Coach.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna turn that off though.
That's cool.